The meeting is called to order May the 5th, 2014, Board of Cosmetology, 9 o'clock. I'd like to thank everyone for coming, and if I could have a representative from each school stand. Okay, thank you.
Elizabeth Pierce, McNeese County High School.
Thank you.
Emily Simmons, Georgia Parents, City of McNichol.
Thank you.
Chip Woods, Salon Professional Academy, Nashville.
Thank you.
Rick Wallace, Aveda, Nashville.
Thank you. We appreciate everyone coming, and I'd like to emphasize, speak into the microphone so we can get it recorded. Sometimes it doesn't record well, so just make sure we speak into the microphone. In front of you, we'll have roll call, starting with Ms. Barger.
Kelly Barger, present.
Courtney Williams, present.
Lisa Murray, present.
Merle Smith, present.
Linda Colley, present.
Rufus Hereford, present.
Pearl Ali, present.
Thank you. In front of you, you have a copy of the April the 7th minutes. Is there any discussion on the minutes? There is no discussion on the minutes. Do I hear a motion that we approve?
Madam Chairman, I make a motion that we approve.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Hereford, seconded by Ms. Maggard, that we approve. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes carry. Okay. Denise is not here yet, so we are going to move to before the board Sierra Gordon and Robin Wilson, please. Yes, ma'am.
If I could real quick interject, Ms. Gordon is going to be presenting for you today, as she is requesting an additional date for the seminars offered for continuing education for instructors, and she'll explain the need for it. This would be a seminar held in Memphis, and the information is not on your iPad, so if you've got any questions, feel free to ask Ms. Gordon. Thank you.
Good morning. Robin Wilson is not with me this morning. She had a family emergency, so I'll be presenting on behalf of both of us. I am Sierra Gordon, one half of Expertise Consulting. A lot of you may recognize me from when we came last year. You pre-approved us for 2014 classes. We have 5 classes that we offer. One in February in Nashville, one in Memphis in April, one in Nashville in June, one in August in Pigeon Forge, and one in October in Chattanooga. Based on the need, I have had several people request and pre-register for an additional class in Memphis. However, I know there's already a class in Memphis in June, so we did not look at June, we looked at July, because there's not any classes offered in Memphis in July. We're looking at the date of July the 12th and 13th. All of our classes are on Saturday and Sunday. So I'm here to request that we do the same class that we're doing already for 2014 and just requesting an additional date. I know that it's somewhat short notice to get it on the board's website, whether barber or cosmetology, so we're not really necessarily requesting that because we have our own way of getting our marketing information out at this point, and people who have already contacted us on behalf of the need for this class that they missed in April when we were in Memphis.
You've had a February seminar and also in April.
Yes, ma'am, we have, and surveys have been turned in for both of those.
How were the surveys?
The surveys are all good. They're 4 to 4.5.
Okay.
And anytime that the board would like them, I can have them emailed to you all so you can see them in PDF form. As well as if you need a copy, we've got them in the office. Thank you.
Questions? Any discussion?
Yes, I had a couple of questions, please. For the February and April, where did those take place again?
Okay, the February class was at the Holiday Inn here on M Hill Pike.
I was in Nashville.
Yes, ma'am. And then the April class was at Holiday Inn in Memphis on Beale Street.
Where was that on Beale Street?
I don't have the numerical address in front of me right now.
I mean, was it a venue, a salon, or?
At the Holiday Inn.
Okay, you said how? Oh,
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, sorry about that.
That's okay.
And then your other months that you gave in cities, could you repeat that, please?
Sure. For the month of June, what we already have scheduled is for Nashville as well. And that's going to actually be at the same location that we had prior in February
Where was that, ma'am?
at Holiday Inn on M Hill Pike.
Hill Pike.
Yes, ma'am.
And you mentioned 2 more months in
Pigeon Forge in August is also at a Holiday Inn in Pigeon Forge. And then the Chattanooga class in October is also at a Holiday Inn in Pigeon Forge.
The 2 that you've had already, how many people did you have in attendance?
The 2 that we had the one that we had in February, we ended up having a total of 8, I believe. And the one that we had in April, I believe it was a total of 12.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
This may be a dumb question, but with that low enrollment, are you still being able to keep the price down for the enrollment?
We are still able to keep the price down. The opportunity is great. However, this is our first full year offering classes. So with everyone have known one provider for several years, of course, anytime you start a business, you're going to have to actually get your name out, and that's what's starting to happen. That's why the demand and the request is coming back for us to actually come into Memphis again.
What is the dates for the August in Pigeon Forge? Please, ma'am.
I believe it is the 16th and 17th, if I'm not mistaken. Saturday and Sunday is what we work on.
In September? Chattanooga.
August. And then October in Chattanooga.
Oh, October, okay.
Yes, ma'am. I believe it is the 12th and 13th. All of those previous dates are already on the website, Barber and Cosmetology.
Questions or discussion? And she's asking for the approval of the one in Memphis, which will be July the 12th and 13th, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. And so far, we have 15 people pre-registered for that.
Okay.
And you said it would be at Holiday Inn on Bill?
No, that's where the one was in April. We'll actually be looking to go back to that location. Yes, ma'am.
That's what I asked.
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
it'll be the same location.
Yes, ma'am.
What is the cost? Is the cost on the website also?
It is. Yes, ma'am.
And how much is that?
For early bird registration is $225. For advanced registration is $250. And last call registration is $275. You're welcome.
There's someone that's wanting to ask a question.
I do know that the one in
'13th and 14th, which would be, what day of the, what?
Sunday and Monday.
Sunday and Monday.
So we're
That's the one in
overlapping one
Knoxville.
day. Thank you.
One is Memphis and one is in East Tennessee, Knoxville. More discussion? Questions?
Well, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the dates requested unless there's an issue with the one day overlapping the 13th.
I second it.
Motion's been made by Ms. Pearl Walker Ali, seconded by Ms. Murray, that we accept the July 12th and 13th in Memphis, even though it's overlapping by one day of the East Tennessee. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes carry. Thank you. Denise arrived yet?
No, Madam Chair, she has not. We can start with the applications for examination if you're okay, and then we'll see
Okay,
if
what we're
she's here.
going to do is wait for Denise to get here. So we're moving on to applications. Thank you.
Thank you. On your iPads, on page 3, we will start with our applications for examination. I wore my glasses. Okay. In front of you are applications for Loretta Doyle, Africa McQuitty, Kimberly Rumble, Sequisha Tazino, Misty Wooden, and Cynthia Bowman. All have felonies and have submitted for the board's approval their information. You have disclosure of students and letter of recommendation. Upon accepting each of their applications, each of the applicants must sign a 2-year consent order agreement. And if you've got any questions, please let me know. All the information's on your iPads.
there any questions or discussion on these? If not, do I hear a motion that we accept with consent agreement?
I move that we accept with consent agreement.
Second.
Motion's made by Ms. Ali, Walker Ali, seconded by Ms. Williams, that we accept with consent agreement. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes carry.
Madam Chair, if we could go back, Denise Lawrence is here. She's with Commerce and Insurance Liaison. She would like to fill us in on the 2014 legislative session.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I apologize for my tardiness. It was one of those days with my dog. First of all, I thought I'd mention that the legislature did pass Senate Bill 1893. This has not been assigned a public chapter yet. This is the bill that combines the Board of Cosmetology with the Barber Board. And as passed, basically what it does is vacate both existing boards by June 30th and then reconstitutes the board. The governor will then reappoint the membership. It will be a 13-board member, 14, my bad, I was looking at the original bill. 14-member board, and I apologize again, the speakers of the Senate and the House and the governor will appoint, it's just the governor? That's what I thought. I'm very confused this
The first
morning.
one's different from the last.
Yeah, the first one was different from the last one. The governor appoints all the membership. You know, I can go through the specifics of the amendment on how, what the membership was. Basically, it allows for a certain number from the Barber Board and then a certain number from the Cosmetology Board. I think that you'll see that they're very even. They're still public members. The Cosmetology Board will be made up of, it's a little bit different than the makeup now in that there will be a member from a school and then an esthetician, a manicurist, a hairstylist, and things of that nature. I mean, that's the general overall gist. Do y'all have any questions? We're sort of learning as we go as well. What I know that what we're going to be working to do is to help the board complete everything that it has to go. I mean, has to do up until this time. This certainly does not mean that there will be no cosmetology board. I mean, everything hopefully will transition very smoothly, and we will be in communications. I'm sure Assistant Commissioner Giannini will be in communications with the governor's office in terms of appointments to the board. The next two bills that I wanted to bring to your attention are the two bills that the General Assembly passed in order to deal with the issue of authorization, post-secondary authorization. The first bill that was passed was Senate Bill 760, and this has also been signed by the governor on May the 1st. This is the bill that allowed the Board of Cosmetology, or the merged board, to be able to authorize cosmetology schools and barber schools in order that the students would still be able to get student loans from the federal government. As you're all aware, the Federal Department of Education said that we had to have state authorization in order for the students that are going to each of those schools to continue to receive Title IV funding. So this bill gives us the authority gives us and therefore the board the authority to promulgate rules, to do whatever is necessary to enable you to authorize various cosmetology and barber schools. And I'm sure we'll be working on some rules in order to do that. The second bill that was passed in conjunction with that is Senate Bill 1358. That bill was passed as sort of a fallback And our concern was we were not very successful in getting definitive word from the Department of Education. This is something that we've never done before. We've never been a state authorizer, so we weren't really sure what all was entailed. So we were very concerned that we might go through this process, we'd get this bill passed, and then the Department of Education would say, hey, who are you, Department of Commerce and Insurance? We don't care. You aren't qualified to authorize these schools, so therefore we're going to deny it. And we wanted a fallback in the event that that might happen. So what we did is we spoke with Senator Johnson and Representative McManus, and they agreed. And they amended a bill that had already been introduced that simply says that if the Department of Education denies an application by a school that has been authorized by the state of Tennessee via the board, then THEC is authorized, Tennessee Higher Education Commission is authorized to perform that authorization procedure. And that's all it does. That's pretty much everything. We had a lot of strange little bills out there, but they sort of all went away, thankfully. Yes, sir.
Is this an annual consideration that you have to look at, or?
Which one? The authorization? I think the authorization is going to be an annual consideration, at least for the first year. I mean, we had countless meetings and conversations with people in Washington, with our legal people, in conjunction with THEC and in conjunction with the General Assembly. This was not a perfect fix. And what we asked the General Assembly to do was just to allow us the opportunity to do it for a year. And then what we hope to do is to, and I think there's actually a representative from THEC here, what we hope to do is get together with THEC and try to come up with a better plan. I mean, it's abundantly clear. I know nothing about school authorizations and education, but it's abundantly clear that it's a very particular animal that we believe falls outside of the purview of the health and welfare, the things that the board is accustomed to regulating. We've been in conversation with THEC, and it appears that the things that they do, and they do authorize schools, but the schools that they authorize are vastly different than anything like cosmetology and barber school, and we don't disagree. So I think our hope is to get together with them over the next 12 months, or at least the next 6 months, and try to come up with an alternative that may be that we can use going forward. It may be an entirely new entity. We just don't know. But I mean, it is absolutely our intention. We are committed, the legislature is committed, THEC is committed to making sure that these students have access to student loans and that the schools continue to operate.
And who is the representative?
On both bills,
No, I'm talking about, you said we have.
I'm sorry, I thought I said Julie Woodruff. I could not call her last. Julie Woodruff is from THEC, and she is the director, I think, of the
Post-secondary school authorization.
post-secondary school authorization.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Also, we have Mr. Agee here. Mr. Agee, do you have any comments you could give us?
Thank you. Mike Agee, representing the Tennessee Associated Beauty Professionals. Denise did a really good job explaining some very complicated issues, and I am very glad that this is the last time she or I, either one, will be giving you a report on this General Assembly, since they are now gone home. I will only mention a couple other things because I have reported them to you specifically before, so just to close them out. Some other legislation that we were working on this year, obviously the legislation that would have dealt with the apprenticeship program that you are in the rulemaking process on now, that was established the year before. That bill was sent to summer study, and I have got a commitment from the committee chairs that we will study that issue. preferably once the rules get far enough along that they are public and we will have the specifics to look at. So we will be following up on that between now and next session. Hopefully again, once the rules are made public. A couple other things that I reported to you once about a bill that was introduced this year to create the same apprenticeship program for barbers. That bill did not advance. And there was also a bill that was introduced that I had reported to you on that would require continuing education for cosmetologists in their licensing process, and that bill did not advance either. One last thing that I will mention, and I don't think Denise or I ever mentioned this bill because it never got a Senate sponsor, and the only reason I mention it now is just to let you know sort of the attitude of members of the General Assembly. There was a bill that was introduced in the House that would have required cosmetologists and master barbers to pay an annual professional privilege tax. It's a tax that I have to pay now, but it would have expanded that to cosmetologists and barbers. And that bill did not get a Senate sponsor, so it didn't move. But that's just a warning of things to come because people are always looking at every industry they can to generate revenue. So that's all I have unless you have questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'll turn it back over.
Thank you.
Can I real quick, Ms. Colley, and I apologize. I wanted to let you guys know, I know there has been frustration in the past, and we've contributed to that. I have contributed to that, and I apologize. And I wanted to take this opportunity to give every one of you my business card, so you can reach me anytime you need me to ask me about me. We try to keep everybody posted on legislation, but I think Mike will attest, it's lightning speed up there, and it's gotten continually worse and worse, and sometimes we don't know what's going on until they get to the floor, and sometimes I wonder if anybody does. So I'd like to just pass around my cards, if you will, and please encourage you to reach out to me.
Thank you very much.
We're going to go back to our applications for testing. And the first one that we're going to look at is on page 33 of your iPads. Application for testing of a manicurist license for Tommy Vo. School transcript states 600 hours in curriculum from beauty models, and the applicant is currently licensed in Texas. However, Texas State Board notified us that beauty models is currently under investigation by the Texas Department of Licensing. Additionally, this applicant was found working unlicensed in a shop, which was cited in November 2013 prior to the application being received in the board office. The recommendation is that this applicant be denied licensure or, in the alternative, appear before the board to explain his actions.
So he was found working in Tennessee.
That is correct.
And the recommendation is to deny the license
Or allow him to appear before
or
the board.
allow him to appear before the board.
And you can ask him questions and make a decision at that time.
Any discussion, or do I hear a motion?
Madam Chairman, I make a motion that we concur with your recommendation.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Herford, seconded by Ms. Smith, that we concur with your recommendation. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes carry.
Next on your iPads is application for testing for manicurist license for Dong Trung Huang. School transcript states 600 hours in the curriculum from Atlantic Beauty School, and the applicant is currently licensed in Texas. However, Texas Board has notified us that Atlantic Beauty School is currently under investigation by the Texas Department of Licensing. The recommendation is that the application remain pending until TDLR, Texas Department of Licensing and Regulations, investigate it completely in order to ensure verification of school hours.
Madam Chairman, I make a motion we concur with the recommendation.
Second.
Motion made by Ms. Smith, seconded by Ms. Williams, that we concur with your recommendation on pending. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes carry.
Thank you. Next is application for testing for manicurist license for Sien Thai Dong. School transcript states 600 hours in the curriculum from Atlantic Beauty School, and the applicant is currently licensed in Texas. However, Texas Board has notified us that Atlantic Beauty School is currently under investigation by the Texas Department of Licensing. Recommendation is that the application remain pending until TDLR investigation is complete in order to ensure verification of school hours.
I move that we concur with the recommendation.
Second.
Motion made by Ms. Walker Ali, second by Mr. Herford, that we concur with the recommendation. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes carry.
Application for testing of manicures license for Tuyet Thai Nguyen. School transcript states 600 hours in the curriculum from N-Style Beauty Academy, and the applicant is currently licensed in Texas. However, Texas Board has notified us that N-Style Beauty Academy is currently under investigation by the Texas Department of Licensing. The recommendation is that the application remain pending until TDLR investigation is complete in order to ensure verification of school hours.
Madam Chairman, I can also make the same recommendation that we concur.
Second.
Okay, motion's made by Mr. Herford, seconded by Ms. Barger, that we concur with the recommendation. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes carry.
Application for testing for manicures license for Nguyen Dung. School transcript states 600 hours in the curriculum from Angel Beauty Academy, and the applicant is currently licensed in Texas. However, Texas Board has notified us that Angel Beauty Academy is currently under investigation by the Texas Department of Licensing. Recommendations that the applicant remain pending until the TDLR investigation is complete in order to ensure verification of school hours.
I'll make the motion to concur with the recommendation. Second.
Motion's made by Ms. Barger, seconded by Ms. Williams, that we concur with the recommendation. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes carry.
Thank you. Last application for testing. Application for testing of manicures license for Kim Jennifer Vong. Texas School Certification states 600 hours in the curriculum from Pacific Beauty Academy, and the applicant is currently licensed in Texas. However, Texas Board has notified us that Pacific Beauty Academy is currently under investigation by the Texas Department of Licensing. The recommendation is that the applicant remain pending until TDLR investigation is complete in order to ensure verification of school hours.
I make a motion that we can concur with the recommendation.
Motion's made by Ms. Murray. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Barger, that we concur with recommendation. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes carry.
Thank you. Next on our agenda is miscellaneous, and we have a request from last month that continued. The request for workshop approval for August 3rd and August 4th of 2014 from Ms. Eleonora Dodge-Warwood. She is the CEO with Beyond Beauty Group. She appeared before the board at the April 7th meeting, and at that time she had she was told to go ahead and select one day for a workshop that a board member would attend. The board member would be able to attend this particular session, and then we would consider 2015's future dates. She was unable to be present at today's meeting to discuss that with everyone. However, in April, we reviewed all her information, the curriculum, and so at this point, all the board was wanting to look at is a date that she selected, and we can decide which board member would be attending now, if you like. Her current approval or request is for the date that we had told her to set.
What was that date?
She is asking for August the 3rd and 4th.
I don't know how to say this other than just say it. We don't know who's going to be on the board on August 3rd.
Right, right. I couldn't agree more. We did discuss at the last one that the possibility, because I think, Ms. Walker-Lee, you're involved with them preparing this material. Is that correct, or no?
Oh, I
Okay.
didn't know,
Okay.
but I know her, but
Okay, you
no.
know, okay. She picked a date. I did let her know that the date might not allow us to know who would be attending. The first meeting is probably going to be August 5th. What we can do is sometime in July, I can email everyone on the board, and we can go from there and make a decision as far as who would be attending. If the date is okay to approve, that's probably her bigger concern, her concern now, so she can do some marketing and be able to have some attendance. So we can
But
decide on.
if we approve the date,
Mhm.
that would be on the condition that there is a board member attending,
Correct.
because will be her first.
That is right. And then she has set dates for 2015. Depending on the evaluations and what the board member decides, will determine if the 2015 dates, or she could appear then again at the October meeting.
We okayed the agenda.
That is correct. There were no additional questions. I believe what we had, she did answer. Her materials is a little bit different than the others, and so I think everyone was comfortable with everything she presented and all the questions. But this, if we approve her now, she would have time to market it and get some some people registered for the class. And then come July, I can, through email or phone calls, see what we do with the new board and decide who would attend.
Where does she want this located?
I'm pretty sure she wants it in Memphis. Our original plan was that she was going to be able to make it, but her first meeting in August of 2015 is also in Memphis, and based on phone conversations, she had gone back and forth on the date, but that is the last date, and I'm certain it is in Memphis.
Any discussion?
I'd like to add that it would be in Memphis, and she both of the ladies, they do reside in Memphis.
Any discussion on this or any questions? Not, do I hear any motions?
I move that we approve the dates for the Beyond Beauty Group for August 3rd and 4th, 2014.
I second.
Motion's been made by Ms. Walker-Ali and seconded by Ms. Murray, that we accept the dates of August 3rd and 4th. Can we add on there that there will be a board member attending?
And there will be a board member attending per the new board.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes carry.
Thank you. And what I will be doing is, in July, again, depending on how quickly we have a new board, is contacting everyone to make sure that we've got somebody that's able to attend that date.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Next, for your review is, we start on the field trips on page 68. These are, again, the new forms. They seem to be working fine. The schools get them right back with the checkbox if approved or denied and a signature. This time we have 9 field trips for your review. If you have any questions, please let me know. Oh, you've got a blank sheet. iPads actually only have 7, so I will make sure that just those 7 go out. 2 of them are blank for some reason I'll have to look at.
have a question, Ms. Roxana. On the Paul Mitchell, let's see which one it is. It is, let's see, 1, 2.
Page 71. Yes.
Did they give you any, is this all the information we have?
Yes, this is all that they've got, the various instructors that are going, the director, and then the golf tournament that they'll be doing on, I don't think,
See,
they've not given us the date, have they?
But it's, well, I'm sure the golf tournament's already set. They'll be handing out business cards, conducting consultation, and helping to set up the event. I'm not sure what that
Oh, that falls into us.
falls into cosmetology.
I will, on that, just communicate with them, let them know that it was presented but denied at this time. We don't have enough information to tie it to their school hours, if that's okay with you. And then as well,
Okay with the
we don't
board?
have the date as to when that needed to be.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Other than that, is there any other discussion on the field request?
I do have a question on page 73. The Empire Beauty School is asking for a haircutting class, but it doesn't really say where that might be. It does say a teacher and an address. Does this,
That probably means, and they've done this, I think, before when they would do it in the paper form or send an email that they attend, they'll attend a particular location and take their haircutting class to watch and observe. But there again, we're assuming that, I think there's no problem in letting them know that they've got to provide more and that at this time it's not enough information. Under the purpose that, they'll need to
I
give
think
us
it asks
as
for
much as
teacher and facilitator information. I think they might have read that as facility.
Right.
It's
right.
hard to read.
I think that's where they're planning on going and taking the students to watch.
so maybe it's a salon or a, okay.
Any more discussion on the field request? If not, do I hear a motion we accept, all except for the Paul Mitchell, and get more information from Paul Mitchell?
I make a motion we accept and until we get more information about the Paul Mitchell class.
Motion's made by Ms. Murray that we accept, with the exception of the Paul Mitchell, until we get more information. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Walker Ellie. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes carried.
Thank you. We are starting with our reciprocity applications. On your iPad, starting with page 78, our first applicant is Tara Ding. Ms. Ding, would you go ahead? Ms. Ding is here in front of the board. Let me give you some information on her. This is an application for reciprocity of cosmetologist license from California for Tara Ding. Ms. Ding had her license for manicuring and aesthetics revoked in 2012 for failure to meet the reciprocity requirements. She appeared at the hearing on February 26, 2013, signed an agreed order rather than participate in formal hearing process. She appeared before the board to explain her hours, that she had completed her hours, and she's here to explain her situation, answer any questions that you have. Her hours were completed in California in December of 2012, and her paperwork is in front of you. She waited until 2013 to test, and has a current license in California. Part of the delay in her testing and hours were because she had a child. California State Board has confirmed to the board that her school is currently in good standing, and they have certified her hours. I will let you ask any questions that you have. If you need a recommendation, we've heard two previous applicants a little bit similar to this in the past.
So she has completed the 1,600 hours
That is correct.
and now has her cosmetology license in
California.
California. She received that December 2012.
Her license from California is November of 2013. Her hours were completed at the end of 2012, but she waited to test. Ms. Ding actually has paperwork on her flight and her information from having tested in California. And again, she's available if you have any questions for her, but part of the delay is she had a child, so she didn't go back for a bit to take that exam.
She is licensed in California,
That is correct.
and it does not expire until 2015.
Correct.
And she has her 1,600 hours, and she has taken the exam.
That is correct. Historically, for the other applicants, just as far as a recommendation, if I could, I would recommend that, to be consistent, we could flag her file and make a notation, but it would be up to the board to decide however we'd like to go with Ms. Ding's particular case.
Okay, and the reason that the license was,
The reason the license was flagged,
yes,
she did not follow the steps for reciprocity in 2012. It was not a legal license.
okay. But she went back and corrected all that.
That's correct.
Do you have any comment, ma'am? Lean closer to the mic, please.
No, but if you have asked me any question, then I can answer.
Do you have any problem when, I know you passed the test in California. Did you have any problems with the language, reading the,
Sorry. Because English is my second language, so I don't understand much of Turn it off. Yeah, I don't understand much of the, somehow, I don't.
but you did pass the test?
Yeah, but I did pass the test, yeah.
Ding, was the exam in English or in Vietnamese?
I did the written test in Vietnamese.
Okay, they had a Vietnamese
That is correct.
test, okay. So is there any questions you have for her? Yes. I hear a motion.
I move that we approve the application and concur with the recommendation to flag the file.
Motion made by Ms. Walker Ali that we grant reciprocity with the file being flagged. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Barger. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes carried. Congratulations.
Thank you. Next on your iPads is Ms. Donna Yanta. Ms. Yanta is also here. If I could get you. You have her documentation in front of you. She was presented to the board on April 7th, and the decision was that she take the examination. At that time, we did not have certification from Florida that showed her nail specialist license. that was issued in 2009. What she did is she combined her license and therefore did not show the license there for the correct length of time. She's appearing before the board to answer any questions you have, and the documentation you have in front of you is what you saw at the April meeting as well. As you can see on the certification, Florida's license for nail specialist is only the 240 hours. However, her tax records are there for the 5 consecutive years. One of the problems we had with the last presentation was that they had changed that initial date because she changed it to a different type of license, and we'd lost the history from 2009. It looked like she hadn't received it until 2011, I think.
Yeah,
or 12.
when I combine them.
So you received your license in Florida,
In 2009.
2009, as manicurist.
Mm-hmm.
And you received that in Florida. Is that where you got your training, was in Florida?
Yes, in Florida. In 2009, when I moved to Tennessee, I was also an esthetician in Florida. So in 2011, I combined the two to become a full specialist. So the history, when at the initial application, you didn't see the history for the manicurist because it gave you the full specialist date. So I had I represented, and they sent you the original application for the original certificate for manicurist. But I've had 5 years of work history since then.
Is this showing that this nail specialist license is expired?
No, it's active. The what it's showing is the nail specialist is not active. It's delinquent, but still active because I haven't renewed that. Once you combine your licenses, they kind of keep that there until it kind of expires, and it just kind of washes away. They don't. I didn't retire it. I just combined the full specialist and then and the aesthetic licensing, and you become a full specialist. So.
What is a full specialist?
An esthetician, licensed esthetician, and a licensed nail technician.
Now, in Tennessee, we're only asking for a manicurist.
Right. And it is a manicurist. Mm-hmm. I did it for economical reasons, instead of paying my licensing fees for my nails and then my licensing fees for my aesthetics. You have the option to combine them.
In Florida?
In Florida. Went to two different educational programs, okay? Went to school for my nail technician, and then got my license for that, and went to aesthetic school and got my license for that. When I moved to Tennessee, I do have a Tennessee aesthetic license. I tested in the state of Tennessee, so I have taken the written exam for aesthetics. And did the practical for aesthetics, but I have my work history for my my manicurist license.
So what is your request, please?
I want a Tennessee manicure license. Based on my
license in
recipe.
Florida. You have a license in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Is it active?
Yeah, it is.
The license that she has active, if you look at page 87, this particular license as a nail specialist, which was given to her in 2009, is showing expired on October 31st of 2012. But where it says current license, delinquent/active, Florida kind of does things a little bit different than we do here. What she did is she rolled her nail specialist license to a full specialty license and only continued paying on it, as she said, for financial reasons. The experience and the state allows her to do both things in essence, manicuring and aesthetics. We would separate them. But it allows her to do both things under that license, which is what we looked at last in April. However, because it's only 260 hours, she didn't have the hours that we felt, or you felt that was needed for manicurists, because she, here we've got 750 needed for aesthetics and the 600 for manicures. Now, she did test for her aesthetics license, because for this nail specialist, you don't test in Florida either. So what we've done with most of the Florida licenses is still require them to test for that license here because there's no state examination for this particular license. Now, her tax records that she's submitting here are for her experience in the manicuring field, is what Ms. Yanta says. And so they would be the 5 consecutive years.
That is without taking the exam. Is that what we're saying? The manicuring exam?
She has not taken the state Florida manicuring exam. So the board could elect that she take the examination here. She's done it for her aesthetics. She had to take the examination for her aesthetics.
That's here in Tennessee.
Yes, ma'am.
So I had a question, ma'am. When you rolled over to the full specialist in Florida, that was just an application and a fee? There was no testing required to roll over in that other status?
No, I had to take current HIV class. They require you to take that every 2 years to renew it. But no, they just combined the 2 licenses.
But there's no theory or practical exam?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. I have the 5 years of reciprocity work experience.
So we requested that you take the esthetician exam, is that correct?
When I moved to Tennessee in
Yes.
2011, I went to school, got my additional hours, and took my aesthetics exams and my practical. Yes, ma'am.
Madam Chairman, I make a motion we grant a reciprocity with the documentation that's shown.
Second.
Who's second? I can't see you, so it's hard to take. Motion's been made by Ms. Smith, seconded by Ms. Murray, that we accept reciprocity with the information that we have. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes carried. Congratulations.
Thank you. Next on your applications are on page 95, application for reciprocity of cosmetologist license from North Carolina for Rebecca Dway. Ms. Dway was presented to the board at the April 7th, 2014 meeting, and the decision was for her to take her Tennessee examination. At that time, we did not have documents in support of her apprenticeship hours. Between January 11th and 2013 and August 12th of 2013, 2 affidavits state that she completed over 6 months in an apprenticeship program and obtained an apprentice license. North Carolina requires 1,500 hours, and she took and passed both examinations. The recommendation is that the applicant be given reciprocity.
She's already taken the exam.
In North Carolina, yes. But North Carolina, if you see on page 98, her actual certification says she completed 1,204 hours, .55. Her practical and theory grades are there. And so the reason we told, she just didn't have the length of time. She received that in 2013 to have the history and the experience. So we required her to test. Conversations then with the board, she explained the apprenticeship part and how they do that in North Carolina. So she, in essence, and that's what these affidavits are, as well as the license she received as an apprentice. She was able to do 5 full months and 2 weeks between January and June in full-time as an apprentice, and then she did 1 more month and a half later. So she's done a little over 6 months as an apprentice that would have added the additional 300 or so hours.
Madam Chairman, we're still talking about apprentice hours that we don't accept.
See if I can get, she went to school for how many hours?
1,200 point something. So
Okay.
just 1,200 hours, and North Carolina allows that to where you do your schooling and then the apprenticeship for the additional 300 to get the complete license. And that's what the affidavits that she has include. A lot of states are going to this, to where they can do both things and get the full license. That's the reason she sent her apprentice license and the affidavits, which is how they keep track of the work history.
So she's completed 1,200 hours in cosmetology school. And then according to North Carolina, she has done 5 months and 2 weeks apprenticeship that equals up to 300 more hours.
Done a total of 6 months, pretty much, because the next affidavit is for 1 month and 2 weeks, from July through
Gotcha.
the middle of August. Yes, that is correct.
North Carolina's requirement is,
It is 1,500 hours for them to issue a license, and so she's done it with the traditional school hours and then the apprenticeship license.
I had a question. And this may be for Rob, but so once our rules and everything are outlined for the apprentice program, will the board, the future board, automatically accept apprentice hours or accept hours up to a certain number or a percentage or?
I don't think anything is automatic. I just think they'll be subject to approval. It'll just still be up to you. I don't think it'll be automatic.
So there won't be a provision in the rules, okay,
I don't think
concerning
that's what we
this?
were thinking.
Okay, so as of right now, since we don't accept apprentice hours, all we can acknowledge is the 1,200?
We don't have an apprentice program implemented yet, so that's the way I would interpret that.
more discussion?
Looks like she can potentially wait until the rules are outlined for Tennessee apprenticeship program, if that is supposed to happen this summer. Or we just, or
Like
take
we
the
did.
exam.
And just to interject, the issue with why our rules probably won't specify what we'll do with reciprocity applicants with apprenticeship is because it varies so much from state to state. A lot, like Kentucky has 1,800 hours, and then they've got to, on top of that, do apprenticeship afterwards. And a lot of them can have it in the middle of it, and so it'd be really hard to add that in there, and it may tie us down. I think, like Rob says, we will have to present those as reciprocal applicants and explain, and then let the board decide, does it come close to what we have and exceed, or are we still short?
Right now, we have nothing, so right now, automatically, that just does not count. But possibly months from now, we could consider, is that correct?
Several months.
Yes.
Yes, that'll be a while. So,
Oh, yeah.
so I was wondering if this person knew of the new legislation and that why they thought that the apprentice hours would make a difference.
Just in North Carolina, they count toward her 1,500. North Carolina issued the license because they require 1,500, and because she completed it doing both things, it's a real license, so she would qualify, but that doesn't mean that we accept it.
So Carolina and North Carolina, she could take 1,500 hours in the school, or she could take 1,200 and then do the other hours in apprenticeship. Is that, so they have an either or.
Right, right.
Madam Chairman, I make a motion that you take the additional 300 hours of schooling and take the Tennessee exam.
I ask just a quick question. Now, what we told her in April was that she had to take the Tennessee examination. Can she go back to just taking the examination, or are we going to add in there that she has to complete 300 hours? Just for you all to let me know which way we're going.
What about the work history?
Well, she's been working in North Carolina since, I think her license date is 2013. Yes, August 2013, so she won't have the work history. She'll just have the.
And I stand by my recommendation.
He also, in April, said that she could take the exam. Is that correct? Was it April? What month was it?
In April, we told her that she could take the Tennessee examination. Nothing was said about additional hours. It's hard for some of the students that come in, or applicants from other states that have completed everything, to just be accepted for 200 or 300 hours. That's not to say that we can't, but we've pulled away from having them need those hours unless it's an international student and a lot is missing. It's been historically the way in the last 6 months we've been going, is for the testing if the hours are few.
What's bothering me is if we went with what Mr. Herford recommended, we'd be
Correct.
different from what we recommended in April.
Correct. That is correct. In April, we told her she could test. She was really hoping that we hadn't, well, we didn't know about her apprenticeship. I hadn't seen those affidavits, so it was definitely worth presenting it, but.
Okay, so she was presenting this just to see if we would change our mind.
From the examination, that's correct.
Do you think we could go with, continuing with what we passed in April?
Yes, I retract that statement, and then I will just go with the Tennessee exam.
I second that.
That would be my motion.
That we.
Motion made by Mr. Herford, seconded by Ms. Smith, that she sit for the Tennessee exam as we requested in April.
Stand
All
with
in
their
favor
decision.
say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes carry.
Next is application for examination for cosmetology license from Puerto Rico, Ms. Carmen Gonzalez. She was presented to the board at the April 7th meeting. Upon receiving our letter and the decision from the board for her to, regarding the information presented, Ms. Gonzalez contacted Puerto Rico to rectify the information that we received. Puerto Rico's regulatory office contacted the board by telephone and explained that older licenses are not all properly reflected on the verification of their website. The email provided certifies that Ms. Gonzalez has been licensed since June 15th of 1999. In other words, when we presented her in April, the license information could not be verified, so we did not think that it was an accurate license and therefore denied her. Puerto Rico has rectified it, explained that a lot of older licenses are just not available to be pulled up. They've corrected their information to where what you see in front of you is the email explaining that she does in fact have the license and that all her documents were, in essence, provided by the regulatory board in Puerto Rico. So she otherwise meets all of our requirements, and my recommendation would be that we approve her licensure now that we have confirmation. in the future on anyone licensed prior to 2000, but there's no cutoff on time. But I will probably have to delay those a little bit more until I can get an actual confirmation by someone, whether it's true or not, that the license information's there.
I'll make the motion to grant reciprocity.
Motion's been made by Ms. Barringer to grant reciprocity. Do I hear a second?
A second.
Second by Ms. Walker Ali. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes carry.
Application for reciprocity of cosmetologist license from Puerto Rico for Samuel Baello Bermudez. Certification is verified with Puerto Rico. The total number of hours Mr. Bermudez completed is 1,000 hours in 2010. He has a letter of recommendation, but does not substantially meet the reciprocity requirements. The recommendation is that the applicant take the Tennessee examination.
It's also an instructor. Is asking just for cosmetology license?
That is correct. And he doesn't quite have the 5 years experience, but he's completed everything else. And Puerto Rico does vary. There's no set number of hours that they have to have.
Madam Chairman, I make a motion we concur with the recommendation.
Motion
For him to
made.
take the Tennessee exam.
Motion's made by Ms. Smith. We have him sit for the Tennessee exam.
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Murray. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes carry.
Request for approval for cosmetology education from Haiti for Rose Tatiana Calixte. Documentation from Haiti states that Ms. Calixte graduated from cosmetology school in 1997. Taxation documents support working in the industry between 2008 and 2009. School information does not state the number of hours or the curriculum. The recommendation, given that she would be that she apply for the Tennessee examination, and if we have all the proper information with her transcript, then the board would consider it. Otherwise, she would have to come before the board again for you to approve her testing at that time.
Because we don't know yet what category she was in.
That's
or
correct.
what.
That's correct. We don't have the curriculum. And at the time she'd complete the application, we have to have a breakdown in the curriculum.
Discussion or any motion?
I move that we follow the recommendation to acquire additional information.
Motion's made by Ms. Walker Ali that we get more information. Do I hear a second?
I second.
Seconded by Mr. Herford. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes carry.
Application for reciprocity of apprentice cosmetology license from Kentucky for Shelby Cantor. Certification shows license, initial license in September 2013 with 1,800 clock hours and passing scores for both the theory and the practical exam. Certification from Ohio by reciprocity with initial license date is for April 2010, and also as a managing cosmetologist where the exam was administered. The recommendation would be that the applicant be approved for reciprocity based on the number of hours and Ohio information. This is the first one I think that we've seen, though, where it is a cosmetology apprentice license type. So this may be something new that they're starting as well.
And your recommendation was?
1,800 hours are there, and Kentucky is one of the states that has the 1,800 hours plus an apprentice afterwards. And so the recommendation is that she be granted reciprocity.
Has 1,800 clock hours.
Correct, correct. And then in Ohio, I don't see the certification for Ohio, but she had taken, in Ohio, she had the managing cosmetologist as well.
Ever taken an exam?
Yes, she's got the scores of 76 and 88.5. I don't think the Ohio information is her, because I can't see the certification. It's not in front of you or here, so I think she just has the Kentucky information.
As 1,800 clock hours.
This is from the cosmetology school, Great Ambition School. Her clock hours.
That is correct.
She's taken the exams, both of them.
Taking the exam, she's got clock hours as 1,800, but the license type is a little different. We can, if the board is more comfortable with it, ask for more information on what part of the 1,800 hours would be traditional schooling versus not.
Looks like they all came from just this one
Correct.
cosmetology school, not a salon.
Correct.
Possibly we could request a copy of the curriculum with the, not curriculum, but transcript
Transcript.
with the breakdown of the hours.
That's definitely something we can do. Like we've done requesting additional hours, just specify that what we need to do is see the breakdown of what hours are in the school or how that makes us an apprentice cosmetologist.
Is that a motion, Ms. Walker-Ali?
Okay, sure, yes. I move that we request additional information, more specifically, a copy of the transcript to see the breakdown of hours.
Second.
Motion's made by Ms. Walker-Ali, seconded by Ms. Williams, that we ask for more information with a breakdown of the transcript. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes carry.
Next on your iPads is application for cosmetology education from Mexico for Ascensión Garcia. Documentation from Mexico states Ms. Garcia graduated from cosmetology school in 1995 with 1,560 hours. Ms. Garcia does not substantially meet the reciprocity requirement, so the recommendation is that she take the Tennessee examination.
I'll make the motion to follow the recommendation.
Second.
Motion made by Ms. Barger and seconded by Ms. Smith that we go with the recommendation. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes carry.
Application for reciprocity of esthetician license from Arkansas for Caitlin Corey. Certification shows initial licensure in March 2010 with 600 hours. The recommendation is that the applicant take the Tennessee examination.
She been working? Do we have more information?
No, she's not provided, she wouldn't have the 5 years' work history either way, but we don't have anything. She didn't send anything back.
By taking the exam, the Tennessee exam, even though she's had one, that would show that she's qualified in Tennessee.
They do have the NIC test, right?
Yes, that is
Both
correct.
practical and written.
Practical and written.
Mhm.
I'll make the motion to follow the recommendation that she take the exam.
Second.
Motion is made by Ms. Bardinger and seconded by Ms. Murray that she sit for the Tennessee exam. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes carry.
Application for reciprocity of esthetician license from California for Kiyomi Ho. Certification shows initial licensure in May of 2005 with 600 hours. Ms. Ho is also licensed in Texas. She received her Tennessee manicures license in November 2013 through reciprocity from California and Texas. She submitted work history at that time, but it is all related to her manicuring industry. The recommendation is that the applicant take the Tennessee examination for the esthetician.
Madam Chairman, I make a motion that we concur with the recommendation.
Motion is made by Mr. Herford that we concur with the recommendation. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Murray. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes carry.
Application for reciprocity. Application for reciprocity of cosmetologist license from North Carolina for Hamill Hodges. Certification shows initial licensure in 2003 with 1,226 hours by examination. A letter of recommendation is provided, but it does not state the length of service or the number of years in question. The recommendation is that the applicant take the Tennessee examination.
Question?
I'll make the motion that we follow the recommendation to take the Tennessee exam. Second.
Motion is made by Ms. Barringer, seconded by Ms. Williams, that we go with the recommendations. She sit for the Tennessee exam. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes carry.
Request for approval of manicurist education from the Republic of Uzbekistan for Nina Kutsenko. Transcript provided shows 850 hours received. The recommendation is that the applicant be approved to take the examination.
Chairman, I'll make that motion. We concur with the recommendation.
Motion is made by Ms. Smith that we concur with the recommendation.
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Murray. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes carry.
Application for reciprocity. Application for reciprocity of manicurist license from California and Idaho for Loin Thai Ngoc Lee. Certification from California shows initial licensure in 2010 with 400 hours by examination. Idaho licensure was from 2013 by reciprocity. Ms. Lee does not have the 5 years required for work experience to substitute the required hours. The recommendation is that the applicant take the Tennessee examination.
I'll make the motion that we concur with the recommendation.
Second.
Motion is made by Ms. Barringer, seconded by Ms. Smith, that we concur with the recommendation. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes carry.
Application for reciprocity of manicurist license from Florida for Tram Rodecker. Certification reflects 240 hours and initial date of licensure was 2009. Ms. Rodecker only has 2009 and 2010 tax records showing work history in the industry. The license type in Florida does not include a state board exam. The recommendation is that the applicant take the Tennessee examination.
I'll make the motion that the applicant take the Tennessee examination.
Motion is made by Ms. Murray that they sit for the Tennessee exam. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Williams. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes carry.
For reciprocity of cosmetology license from the Virginia Islands for Luisa Bautista Rodriguez. Documentation shows license was issued in 2008 through 2012. Diploma states cosmetology education was received, but does not reflect the number of hours. The recommendation is that the applicant take the Tennessee examination or provide additional information for hours completed and have an active license.
Madam Chairman, I make a motion she sit for the Tennessee exam.
Okay, motion's been made by Ms. Smith that she sit for the Tennessee exam.
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Murray. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes carry.
Request for approval of cosmetology education from Russia for Marina Sloan. Transcript provided shows grades in the field of cosmetology, and paperwork states 1,574 hours obtained in 2004. A letter from shop owner states that she worked between 2008 until March 2014 for the same salon, which is located in Mississippi. Also provided is a letter from Ms. Sloan explaining her experience. Telephone conversations with Ms. Sloan confirmed that she is planning on moving to Tennessee in June. She has a job offer and does have a current barber license in Mississippi. The recommendation is that the applicant take the Tennessee examination.
Madam Chairman, I recommend that we concur with the recommendation.
Motion's made by Mr. Hereford that we concur with the recommendation.
I second.
Seconded by Ms. Walker Ali. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes carry.
Application for reciprocity of manicures license from Georgia for Luen Kim Tran. Certification reflects licensure by examination and initial date of August 28th with 525 hours required. Tax records for 2008 through 2013 show work in the history, in the field. The recommendation is that the applicant be approved for reciprocity.
That is 5 years.
Yes.
Make the motion to grant reciprocity.
Second.
Motion made by Ms. Barringer, seconded by Ms. Smith that we accept reciprocity. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes carry.
Application for reciprocity of cosmetology license from Florida for Kelly Martin Upchurch. Certification reflects 1,200 hours, licensure by examination, and an initial date of March 2005. Florida is submitting their certifications electronically now and has added some new information. One of the items on the certification is that only the written exam is required for Florida license. Also provided are two letters of recommendation. The barber shop at Lake Ella states that she worked there between 2007 and 2010, and Cuts by Us shows one additional year of work experience. The recommendation is that the applicant take the Tennessee examination.
Madam Chairman, I make a motion that she take the Tennessee exam.
Motion is made by Mr. Hereford that she sit for the Tennessee exam.
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Barringer. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes carry.
Last application for reciprocity, cosmetology license from Florida and Alabama for Tamira Lyons Grumbly. Certification from Florida reflects 1,200 hours, licensure by examination, and initial date of February 2008. Florida is submitting these certifications electronically and has added some new information. One of the items is that only the written exam is required in Florida. Certification from Alabama shows the license was issued by reciprocity and it is expired. The recommendation is that the applicant take the Tennessee examination.
You know when they changed the ruling?
I don't. I have a feeling from the documents, if you look at them, they kind of say they must only, applicants passed a written exam board examination must have 75%, and it does give the year. That information just wasn't on their certification before.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
And your recommendation was she sit for the exam?
Yes, ma'am.
that we accept the recommendation.
All right. Motion is made by Ms. Williams that we accept the recommendation, sit for the exam.
Second?
Seconded by Ms. Murray. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes carry.
Madam Chair, that concludes the reciprocity part. We would move on to legal. If you would like to take a quick break. We don't have that many cases. How many did, 20?
25.
We have 25 legal cases.
Way to go. Okay, break.
15 minutes, okay?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
It's in the past.
Meeting is called back to order.
Thank you. Before we start on the legal, if we could take a moment, I handed out paperwork this morning for an application to be reconsidered for Ms. Lillian Sushak. Ms. Sushak is here in person. Ms. Sushak, you take the podium. Thank you. We presented this information last month for reciprocity, and Ms. Sushak was, the decision was that she take the Tennessee examination. Attached here in the paperwork that you have, and again, this was sent to me Sunday evening, so I printed it this morning and put it together for you. Toward the back of your paperwork, you have the original application for reciprocity, licensure from Florida, that shows 1,200 hours. Again, the only exam at that time is the written examination. The California information is from 2000, and she does also have the California license. What is new is the work history information. She did not have the number of hours that we required or the 5 years work history that she could verify for the 5 latest years as the reciprocity statute requests. Attached there in the paperwork for you are letters of recommendations from clients for Ms. Sushak, and she'll be able to answer any questions you have regarding her work history or experience that is relevant to the industry.
I have a question, please. I notice on one of these, there's 2 of these letters of recommendation. One says she was set up like a small salon. Her professionality, was extremely apparent. And then in another letter, it says the last 4 years at her home salon and occasionally would travel. Is this in Florida? Were you licensed in your home salon?
No, I didn't have a home salon. I usually just traveled. But sometimes when people would get their hair done with me, what I had done was I made this for their comfort so that I could be professional. But usually I traveled to do hair for seniors that couldn't come out, or that lived a long ways, or that were in nursing homes.
Thank you, Ms. Smith.
I'm sorry. Okay. I said, well, it still states in those letters of recommendation that they did visit her in her home salon.
Oh, I have a hydraulic chair, so they would say, oh, it's like a salon.
Well, that is homework, home.
I used to own a salon in California. I had opened a salon in California. So I have all the equipment, but I didn't have we were not allowed to have a salon in the community, senior community.
So your original license was acquired in California?
No, New York. I've had my license about 30 years.
So you're licensed in New York,
Not anymore.
but you were.
Yes,
Then you got licensed in California, is that correct?
yes. And that's when I had to pass another exam because their hours were 1,600.
Exam in California. Do you know what year that was?
2000.
And you received your cosmetology license, is that correct?
Yes.
And from California, you went to Florida.
Yes.
Did you get reciprocity, or did you have to take an exam in Florida?
Reciprocity.
So the last 5-year work history is complicated to me, I'm sorry. Could you help me understand the last 5 years?
Yes. When I first went to Florida, I went to work in salons, and the last one I worked in was in 2012. So it's only like the last year or so that I've been working strictly on my own. Because I'm 66 and retired. But I want to go back to work.
And if you get Tennessee reciprocity, what are your plans?
To look for a job.
Well, I mean, a shop or?
In a salon, yes.
Okay, okay.
What year did you move to Florida?
2008.
Ma'am, in Florida, when you say you worked on your own, explain that to me, please.
After my last job, I just sort of visited clients. I would go to their homes and do their hair. And it's because they contacted me mostly. I was not soliciting, but then they kept recommending other people, would recommend other people. Before I knew it, I was doing like 6 seniors in one building.
Now, are you allowed to do that in Florida? Just go to someone's home?
Yes.
No, Tennessee doesn't permit that unless they're disabled and sick.
Oh, okay. Well,
Can't do work out of our home, no, that's illegal. Unless we're a registered shop, salon.
no, I don't want a home salon. That's why I want my license.
But you know, you would still have to have a license even if you worked in your home, and the home would have to be approved by your
That's what
local
I'm saying.
authorities anyway. So,
Did you test in New York?
Yes.
Is there a recommendation?
She has the letters of recommendations for clients that do cover more than 5 years. They're just not the consecutive. So the only thing that I would add is that the board office did not know about the New York license. Her education's here, but New York is one of the states that doesn't retain their records for very long. And so I don't know that we could obtain that license information, but if it's not active, it wouldn't count either way. The only active license that she has right now is Florida. I think given all the years of experience.
And California. My license in California is active.
Okay. The one I have in my hand from California is expired. It expired in 2010. But either way, the years of experience are definitely there. So I would be comfortable recommending that she be granted reciprocity based on the full number of years. They're just not 5 consecutive, and they obviously are not at a shopper salon. But they were done legally, meeting what Florida allows her to do. So, and we would have a similar exemption here. If someone is at home and cannot get out and about, she would be allowed to do that type of exception here too.
What I was reiterating.
Right,
you know,
right.
So I could.
Right.
Okay, well, I'll make a motion then to grant reciprocity.
Motion's made by Ms. Barger, seconded by Ms. Smith, that we grant reciprocity. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes carry. And you don't look 66.
No.
Thank you so very much.
All right, starting on page 190. 25 cases this time, and I'll let you read them, but I do want to attract your attention to case number 2. Extra information you probably need to know there that I neglected to put on there. The last sentence I put, there's no history of complaints for this representation case. Well, there actually is. There was a case in 2013, and that one currently has formal charges authorized, and the probable cause basis for that was sanitary violations. So I don't know if that'll make a difference in how you look at this, but in case it does, I think you need to know that. So I made a mistake. I said there was no previous complaint.
We're all allowed.
But there is.
We all make mistakes.
The operator error there on the computer. Guess one more thing, like we did last time, when you're done reading, if you'll just turn your nameplate. We're getting toward the end.
Turn them down to begin with and raise them up when we're finished.
Has everybody completed their review?
Are there any questions for the attorney?
Done yet, I don't think.
Oh.
everybody's done, we can talk about.
Anyone have any amendments they would like? I have one question. On your number 2. Okay, their previous history, do you know what year that was?
Well, the complaint number is 2013, so it was last year.
Thank you. I've always wondered what all those numbers meant.
Yeah. It's a year and then the number of the complaint.
So they had an expired license back then plus sanitation. Is that correct?
Well, the case that you're looking at now is represented. It's not the past case. The first case has already gone to formal charges. I just want the case you're looking at now, you've already heard before, and then they contacted us asking if we would accept a different arrangement, so they're trying to see if their remedial measures might make an impact.
Well, in the first complaint back in 2013, how was that settled, do you know?
Well, evidently, and I didn't pull it out to look at it, but I know that it was sanitary violations. The fact that it went to formal charges mean that we issued a consent order for a civil penalty that evidently they didn't accept. So the step after that is to file formal charges. So that's what happened. The aggravating factor here is that it's for sanitation. This complaint, I wanted to make you aware of the previous complaint.
They're wanting to drop it from 1,000.
Yeah, you authorized 1,000. And the way I arrived at that is I totaled up every one of them at $250 apiece.
Mm-hmm.
And then the new recommendation, to stay on. New recommendation, I recalculated it as $250 for each of the whole rule violated. I have to tell you, when I made this recommendation, I wasn't thinking of the previous complaint. So you may not want to accept this.
Personally think it should be minimum $750. That's just my thoughts about this.
I think the $1,000 sounds good.
I agree with that, because if they have done these violations, crimes, we need to pay for it
Well, that's
and
sort
be
of,
corrected.
that's sort of my feeling. That's why I wanted you to be aware of it, because I didn't consider it when I wrote the recommendation. And if I had, I probably would have said 1,000.
Are there any
Second
other
offense.
things you want to talk about on the legal report?
One question on number 12.
Yes.
Okay. It says, further it being that there was no one wearing an identification tag. But the end down there, it just one. Do we know how many was in there? Did the violation say? Because we just got charged with one.
I think
And I just wondered.
I think it ought to be at least 500, because there's 2 rules here that are violated.
Uh-huh.
I don't know how many people there were.
Okay,
But it should be at least 500.
at least. But I just knew how it stated that no one, and therefore that told me that there was more than the one person in there without, you know.
Yeah, the report didn't say exactly how many, so I wasn't
Okay,
quite as comfortable.
I understand.
But you're right, it sounds like there's more than one,
Mm-hmm.
at least two.
Why, I know the inspectors have a get-together, and we're all supposed to be in uniformity in judging. Why, are there so many, a lack of evidence on the violations? May I ask?
Specifically, I couldn't tell you, but
Okay.
we are trying to, there's been several departmental changes, I think, or division changes to, and I don't know if you.
But I know we've been looking at that for some time, you know, and,
It is, and we're trying to do as much training. They'll come back again probably, not as late as September. We'll probably have them back sooner to do training again on just the steps, the best way to start the inspection all the way to the end so that we're consistent, one. Take more photos when they're needed. Pictures are something that can really help out. They did all come in last Monday and receive their iPads and learn how to take pictures. That's an easier tool than the phone, and you're walking in with it on. So we are hoping that with all these tools, and then, you know.
but I just noticed there's a lot because they dismissed because of lack of evidence, so I just wondered.
Or
why
sometimes
they're-
enough information, like you said.
Right.
It could be
Mhm.
two
Like-
people with no
mhm.
IDs versus 15 is a big difference. So, yes,
So was
we're
your-
definitely working on getting them to be better at writing these.
I wanted them to start taking pictures because that's hard to argue with. And whenever we do go to a hearing, I want it to just be, you know, ridiculous to the point to where they're not going to even contest it.
Recommending 500 for this
Yes,
one?
500 for, on number
Agreed.
12, that's what we were speaking of, yes, to increase that.
Excuse me, but do you think this has anything to do with the lack of experience in the field now? We're getting so many people out there that have no experience in this field whatsoever doing inspections.
I will be very honest with you. The only individual we have that is new and isn't in the field is the one that writes better notices of violations. Some of our notices of violations that we dismiss are from our inspectors, unfortunately, that do have the experience. So it isn't due to lack.
I'm sorry, that's just not what I've been hearing.
Yeah.
How many of those, well, I just asked the question, since it, how many non-professionals or what do we have in the field, like as far as?
That is not in the cosmetology field.
Right, with the
Um,
barber.
Well, and again, now we're pulling from a bigger pool. We're using not only our field inspectors, but those that used to be investigators. So we probably have still the majority, 8 or 9 are in the field, and the others are not. So we're at a total of 14. But the experience, the consistency with writing the reports, it doesn't have anything to do with those not being in the field. They'll either maybe go too fast or just aren't consistent in the way they present it. So that's why I think it's a training thing more than years of experience in the field.
I can give you kind of an example, just in a generic sense. It's a violation to not have your washer and dryer in a public area, right? Well, we get a report that it's not in the right area. Then the respondent sends a picture of it back in the laundry room saying it's always been there. And what are you going to say? If they'd taken a picture of it sitting out there in public space, that's a lot easier to prosecute. That's why I was kind of wanting them to make sure they learn how to take these photographs, maybe with a time stamp on it, so they can't send something back saying, oh, it was always there. You know, that's sort of what we were trying to get at, just a little
It's hard to
different
believe that
methodology.
there's so many violations and everything after going through school and everything and knowing and what we should know.
But it's things
and
like
do.
license not displayed. And then they send
Yeah.
a picture where the license is hanging on the wall. Oh, it's
Mhm.
always been there.
Mhm.
Take a picture of their workspace where there's no license. That would be great. I could really work with that. But
I'd also
Yeah.
like, I'd also like to look at 13 and 14.
Right, I've got 13 on there too, Rufus. That word bribery in
They're
there.
in violation, not only bribery, but other things. And then on the next date, we go down, some date subsequent to April the 9th, and we lessen the charge from 4,000 to 3,000.
13
And then they're found with another violation. And I'm just wondering, did they go to some kind of bribery school where they could get a certificate, or?
No, those are actually two closely related cases. One complaint is against the shop, and one is against the owner. And that's why they have slightly different recommendations. But it's the same event.
I could interject, this is something that we are also in training and not encouraging, but having the field inspectors do. If you walk into a shop and it's cited for, let's say, unlicensed workers, the shop is responsible for what they do in that shop, and so they're cited, and so is the manager. That is something that hadn't been consistently done, and it is now. So it has increased our complaints, possibly tripled our complaints because of that, because if you get the information from the individual, then you've got a third person at least. But every shop manager is responsible for everything that happens in that shop. And so if there's a complaint against the shop, it's also being put against the license of the manager. And I think that will slowly make managers more accountable and have them realize that what's happening there is their responsibility.
So what you would have if these went to a formal, case 13 and 14, all four of those would probably be combined into one hearing, which would be a penalty. And of course, if they don't accept the settlement offer, then all of our recommendations go away, and it's whatever you want to do to them at the time.
Was the owner aware of the first visitation?
Number 13 is against the shop and the owner. Number 14 is against the manager. Okay.
Can't hear you, Mr. Harford. Thank you.
Was the manager aware of the first visitation?
I don't know. I presume he's presumed to have been aware of it.
Could have been there anyway, shouldn't he?
That's the way I kind of look at it.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
So when it comes to responsible person, manager versus owner, so is that dealing with who's present and in charge as far as who gets the fine?
The shop and the owner are going to get it anyway because they own the shop. The manager's supposed to be there all the time, so they're responsible for what's going on at the time of the inspection.
Okay, so when you say responsible, you mean responsible, not being fined versus the owner, instead of the owner?
They both get it. They both get discipline.
Oh, okay, so they both, okay.
They're both responsible.
Okay.
The owner doesn't have to be there. The manager has to be there, but they're both responsible.
Okay.
I want to ask a personal question, please. I have a 13-year-old granddaughter, and she wants to come down and play cosmetologist this summer with a mannequin in my school. Would there be any violation if I let her do that?
Can't see how, really. She's not going to be working on people or anything.
I don't want to do something I shouldn't be, but she just wants to come down and play, actually, with inside the school, and it's just a personal question.
No, I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Other questions or comments? Not, we have changed number 2 to 1,000 and number 12 to 500. Do I hear a motion we accept with those two changes?
Actually, with number 2, you're just maintaining what you did before, I think.
Right.
I make a motion that we accept the changes.
Second.
Motion's been made by Mrs. Murray and seconded by Ms. Smith that we accept the law report with those two changes. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes carry. Thank you.
Next, we have the consent orders in front of you, 2 pages. They total for the month of April, $12,750. We need a motion to accept?
I have a question.
Yes.
You have it, it's listed Minneapolis, Minnesota for one of the salon addresses.
That's the main corporate ownership of
Gotcha.
a lot of the Supercuts special
Thank you.
regions, yeah.
I hear a motion, we accept consent orders 12,750.
I move that we accept.
Second.
Motion made by Ms. Walker Ellie, seconded by Mr. Herford. We accept consent orders. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes carry.
Thank you. And last on our agenda is for new business. You have on page 209, PSI and the board office will be conducting the Matter Experts Review meeting on June 10th through the 13th of 2014 here in Nashville. The agenda and location has yet to be finalized. This review is set in the contract between the board and PSI and takes place every 2 years. The list of names recommended for the meeting are presented for board review. Upon your approval and any changes that may be made, PSI will send invitations by email to all potential participants. The desire is to have about 10 individuals for each of the days. Thursday and Friday has been set aside for cosmetology. We will have one board member at each of the days, so there's no conflict with the Sunshine Law. The executive director and the board and one board office member will attend every one of the days. The information is there in front of you. If you see anyone that you have a concern about, please let me know, or someone that you know we could add to this list.
Can a board member and one of their employees be there the same day?
Yes, that's not a conflict. It's just one board member at a time, so that's what we'll do. We have Ms. Colley and Ms. Coppinger listed, so we'll check on their availability, which one can attend which one of the 2 days. And PSI said that worked out real well. We're doing the same thing with the Barber members on Tuesday and Wednesday. We'll have one Barber member each of the days.
So cosmetology is Saturday, Sunday?
We are Thursday
Sunday,
and Friday.
Ma'am?
Thursday and Friday.
I have a full day on Thursdays.
Friday would be the day you could make it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'll make a note, Ms. Colley. And Ms. Colley, you've attended in the past, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So has Ms. Coppinger?
Yes.
Okay,
I
okay.
think she did.
I think so too, okay. No one has any changes to make. If I could have a motion to approve the list as it is, I'm going to have a conference call this afternoon with PSI so they can get those emails out as quickly as possible.
Move to approve the list as is.
Motion's made by Ms. Williams to accept the list. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Walker Ali. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes carry.
We can make sure to get the minutes signed. Was there a version printed anywhere
I haven't received it down.
that I emailed? Okay. I will, give me a second to get, you have one? I just need the sheet for the signatures, if we could pass it around, and then we will be,
Start with Ms. Walker.
yeah.
No, she could.
And that's all I have, Ms. Colley.
Anything else to come before the board? If not, we will meet the first Monday in June. Do I hear a motion we adjourn?
So moved.
Motion made by Ms. Smith, seconded by everyone that we adjourn. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes carry. We'll get this signed for you.
Thank you.
we bringing snacks the next month?
We definitely can go.
We used to bring snacks and then
Yes.
they stopped us. I think we got a
Yes.
little too.
I have to slip one in because my sugar go crazy.
Yes.